Hey everyone, it's Byron. I'm here to testify for Jesus Christ. Been a while since I've been on. Some stuff's been happening, and I have gotten through it, not beautifully. I want to try to get direct and to the point of the video. This video has to do with walking in the power of Christ and the things that can separate you from Christ or the power of Christ, and that relates to what I've just experienced in my life. I had a high school class reunion that came along, and I wanted to fully participate. And I looked up some newspaper articles and different things such as that. Looked into some old songs, etc., things that were popular back in the time that we were in high school. And I was doing this kind of like to raise school spirit, so to speak. What happened in the process of that, though, I lost what I will call the power of God in my life. And I just want you to know that within the course of my life, I have gone in and out of the power of God, or gone in and out of the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, God working in me to show me things, to give me words of knowledge, to various different things. So I know what it's like to go to church and to be in church and say that's Christianity, but nothing be happening. And I also know what it's like to not be in church and have God all over me, helping me. And I just went through a period of time where it was rough. It literally was rough, and I could not come out of it. And I just want to share real quick, right to the point, what I learned in the process. First of all, I've done videos before. One video is called America's Christian Idols of the Heart. And there can be idols within your life, or things that you put before God. And they don't have to be a wooden statue or anything like that. It can be music. It can be a movie. It can be a phase in your life that you're going through where you think this is cool. Various different things. I think in this particular case, I did several things. One, I started listening into the old music, started having those memories, the things that, the flesh gets carried away. But then also I wanted to kind of entertain others and help them remember the moments from way back in high school. So for the period of time, I think I was putting others in front of Christ. And I think that you can do that within your heart. You can make things more important in your life for the moment than Christ, than God. And that puts a division between you. And I want to read a verse from Ezekiel chapter 14. I just want to read it, and I just kind of want to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Now, it's important that you know from the New Testament that Paul said the things that happened to Israel back in the Old Testament, they were for an example for us. We can look to that and learn from the examples that we see in the Old Testament. Matter of fact, you can look and see God's nature just from reading the whole Bible. You can see the nature of God, and you can see very clearly that God does bring judgment on people for doing things that are contrary to his will. And one of which is to put other gods before you or have idols. And let me just read Ezekiel 14:7. And show you within Ezekiel 14:7 what separates us, or what put the Israelites away from God. And here's what it says. It says, "For every one of the house of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourneth in Israel, which separateth himself from me, and setteth up his idols in his heart, and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face, and cometh to a prophet to inquire of him concerning me, I the Lord will answer him by himself." What I want to just take from that is that a person can separate themselves from God, or from me as described here, but it's God speaking, by putting an idol of the heart in front of God. And it can be temporary. It can be, a day. It can be an hour. It can be go on for 6, 7, 8 months, and go on even for years. For the life of me, I could never figure out what was happening to me back in the days when I would feel close to the Lord and I would feel away from the Lord, and it kept going in and out like that. what would happen with me is I would be away from church, experience a revival, get really close to the Lord, and then go to church and then find myself drifting away. Couldn't figure it out for a while. Well, it's linked into idolatry. It's linked into idols of the heart, where Christians are not even educated to the point that they understand when you are partaking of things of the world. Like if you go through a 24-hour day and you just track what you do, let's just knock out 8 hours for sleep. Let's knock out another 3 hours for preparation for whatever you're going to do. Then you got an X amount of time left over, maybe, 12 hours or so. And during that 12 hours, if you're spending 2 hours with television and 3 hours with maybe eating and fellowshipping with others or something like that, and then another 8 hours for work, pretty soon you're like, dude, my day is gone, and where's God? And it can be done with music, it can be done with movies, it can be done with football, it can be done with all these various other things, including your mind drifting away. Perhaps even drifted away as a result of something that you looked at or something that you listened to. And that right there is what I would say is separating us from God. It's not that the Holy Spirit leaves us, because he said, lo, I'm with you always, even to the end of the earth. It's not that. It's that fellowship. It's that Holy Spirit working with you throughout the day. If you're going to call time out and be separated from God for that period of time that, well, I got to get my little soap opera in, or I got to do this, etc., then you're not walking in the Spirit. You're not there in fellowship or in close fellowship with the Lord for that period of time. Now, I've described this before in videos, and I knew better, but it came on me in such a way I felt justified, And then by feeling justified, suddenly I found myself in a situation where I was like helpless. I kept telling my son, we were talking to him on the phone, I said, man, Josh, I want to get back, but dude, I can't break this. And that's from walking away, figuratively, let's say, walking away from God mentally by placing something between us and the Lord, or putting a higher priority on something. So I wanted to share that. I wanted to caution that. And I wanted to tell you point blank, you can go to churches, they will teach you how to put things before God while telling you put God first. They'll say, okay, you got to have God first in your life. All right, we're going to go ahead and adjourn now because we got to make sure we get home for the ball game. And the Steelers are playing. It's crazy how that happened. It's almost like that situation where it says, don't do as I say, but do as I do, or vice versa. We're taught that in churches, to have to place things before God. And it's very, very troubling. If you've ever been close to the Lord and you've walked with him and he's helped you throughout a day, and you know that closeness, and suddenly you just feel like, what happened? Look for those idols. Look for those things that you've placed between you, or that you have separated yourself from God with, and watch them. Because it doesn't have to be a wooden statue that you're bound down to. It can be anything that's occupying your time, occupying your resources, other than meditation on the Lord, etc. And I'm not trying to sit here and split hairs and talk about work. We have to work. The Bible even says that anybody that doesn't work is a heathen. It's no good. So we have to work. But it doesn't mean that we have to occupy ourselves so much that we forget God and we put things before God. And that's what I'm trying to say. So let me let you go. I hope I tried to be direct and to the point. I didn't want to say so much that it just gets all cloudy. But I want to make to the point. This stuff sneaks up on even an experienced person. And it can be subtle. So you have to watch it. You can begin to do something that you believe is really great and charitable. And before you know it, instead of it being you and God, it's you and whatever it is. And you're wondering, well, what happened to God? And God didn't go nowhere, anywhere. You did. You separated yourself from God. And I'm not trying to point a finger and make you feel bad. I'm trying to make you understand I've done this too. So anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks.